everybody, this is Francesco Abbruzzino with another Rogue Rant. This is live and unedited. Basically, I put my thoughts down on paper and I come out with a rant, which I produce out here on the airwaves. So today's Rogue Rant is something that is near and dear to me, and I've been reading up a lot on it lately, and it's concerning me. And it's on, does police abuse really exist? Now, for the record, I agree that most police are not monsters. After all, they're humans just like you and me, right? I truly believe that most officers join the force with the right intentions and continue to uphold the level of professionalism throughout their career. It is the small majority that concern me. So, because they are humans, they should be subject to the same rules as us, right? The same justice as us. Sounds accurate. Higher scrutiny, not less than the rest of us. Right? I think we're on target. I mean, even Spider-Man tells us that with great powers comes great responsibility. The reality is that law enforcement officials are held to a very different one, where outcomes of an unequal system of accountability. This often results in a press conference where the police spokesperson may state, "The police felt threatened." Therefore, regardless of guilt or innocence of the victims, police were totally justified in their actions. Okay, makes sense, does it? An extensive report, which was prepared by the United Nations Human Rights Committee and tabled in 2006, states that in the United States, the war on terror has created a generalized climate of impunity for law enforcement officers and contributed to an erosion of what few accountability mechanisms exist for the civilian control over law enforcement agencies. How did this happen? As a result, police brutality and abuse persist unabated and undeterred across the country, folks. The issue of police brutality in the society such as ours are compounded by the tightly knit law enforcement community and their lack of transparency. Although there have been steady increases in civil rights violations by officers, federal records show that the vast majority of police brutality cases are not prosecuted cases, in which officers are accused of using excessive force, are usually plagued by problems with the victim's credibility, a lack of strong physical evidence, and the police code of silence. But why is that, folks? Why is it? Society tends to believe the good guys, being cops, and find faults with the bad guys. Usually the victims are alleged victims of police brutality and civil rights abuses. This recently occurred down the road here in Northport. Most complaints against police are handled by other police in the Internal Affairs Department. Usually, the process is very secretive, results in no action against the law enforcement authority, and people have no recourse to appeal findings of not guilty. The inability of police to police themselves has always existed, but until recently has not been criticized on any grand scale. But public perception of police, a justice system reluctant on punishing its own, and a lack of transparency into investigations are not the only reasons police brutality exists out there now in full force in America. Sadly, despite our desire to support law enforcement and their hard work, we cannot blindly accept those who are brutalized by police. You know, that whole saying of had it coming. Come on now. So far, the attitude has only led to more widespread abuses. Demands for accountability of authority should be made to ensure that the abuses of power don't go unchecked. Pretending nothing is wrong is not the answer, folks. It's not the answer at all. Here's the reality. The reality is this. The issue is much more complex than the good guys versus the bad guys argument most Americans want to believe. Accepting the reality may be brutal, but, and I can guarantee this unequivocally, way less brutal than being maced in your face. That's it for Frank Abbruzzino. This has been another Rogue Rant.